What's up, guys? Today I am super excited because I got Trick or Treat Pete from Spirit Halloween. Trick or Treat Pete is a 5'4" animated clown. He pukes up candy into a bowl for the trick-or-treaters, and he has Bluetooth capability so you can play your own sounds on him, but otherwise he has circus music and sounds of him puking. I knew I wanted to get this guy right away when they released the video of him because he is hilarious. He's also perfect for me because I have 2 little kids now that I have to take trick-or-treating each year, so I won't be able to pass out candy to the trick-or-treaters. So this year, Trick or Treat Pete will be passing out the candy for me, or puking it out. Trick or Treat Pete is an indoor or covered porch use only prop, so you cannot set him outside in the weather, and he is compatible with external activators like step pads or switches, and he is also battery adapter compatible if you don't have an outlet to plug him into. Something I would like to point out is how Spirit Halloween is moving towards boxes that are reusable for their props. I think that is really awesome. These boxes are supposed to be even more sturdy than previous years, and on the back of the box, it actually tells us that there is a slide-out repackaging tray included. That way you can easily pack up your animatronic on the tray and slide it back in the box for storage. Thank you, Spirit Halloween, for doing that. That is so awesome. That being said, let's open this bad boy up and see what we got. Okay, so the repackaging tray is just a piece of cardboard, but it is actually like a full box that you slide into this box. So that is really nice. Package this thing back up, slide it back in. I love that. What I'm noticing is that this is the first animatronic I've ever opened up and not seen the directions right on top. Not a problem, as long as the directions are in fact in there. Let's go through everything in the box and we'll look for the directions as we're pulling stuff out. The first thing I'm gonna pull out is this big yellow thing that actually looks like a construction helmet. It's a safety hard hat. There's piece number 1. This looks to be a bulletproof vest, something like that. Wait a minute, are these labeled? I don't see any labels on there yet, but it's not going to be hard to recognize what piece that is in the directions. Same thing with this. We've got some wrapping around what seems to be his head here. We'll pull it out in a minute. I love pulling the head out. And that is a giant head. First, oh look, here's the directions. Let's open these up and see how difficult this looks like it's going to be. Okay, not a ton of parts. Whoa, it looks like a lot of steps. There's 22 steps, and then it shows 5 more steps. Wait a minute, 5 steps, 5 steps. This one is for the Bluetooth capabilities, and this is for loading the candy. Doesn't look difficult at all, so let's jump right into it. Oh my gosh, I'm a goofball. I pulled this out and I said I didn't know what it was. It's the candy bowl. It's the yellow candy bowl that he's holding in the picture on the box. Goofball? Goof bowl? Okay, directions right there. Then we have a big red shoe, another big red shoe. Here is one of his arms, and check out that giant hand. It actually looks like he's wearing some gloves. There's the stitching right there in the gloves. Pretty cool. This looks to be his outfit, his nice big yellow bow. I love that. I love the colors on the outfit too. Red, and then you got the blue and green checkered. Those are unique colors for a clown. Another arm that is kind of lodged in here with the shoulder form and the control box right there. There is the shoulder form with the control box, and they actually have a plastic cover over the control box, and it says to reuse it to protect the product during storage. Very dope. They are really starting to think about their customers and how we like to store these things in the off season. Though I do love just setting them up and leaving them up in here. Okay, then we have this little piece here. Looks like maybe part of his waist where the legs connect. We have a couple pieces of foam here, usually to fill out maybe legs or arms or something. Let's go ahead and pull the head out now that we got everything else out of the way. This head is ginormous. Hold on. Whoa. I don't want to rip this off. How did they connect it? It's like a bag. It is a bag. What in the world? Here we go. The big reveal of his face. Woohoo! Darn it. More wrapping. Here we go. We'll get a nice close-up of his face as we pull off the wrapping. Look at that. Beautiful. He is so cool. I love it. That is a ginormous head. How awesome. Okay, there is the hole in his mouth where the candy comes from, and then you put the candy in the hat. We'll go over that mechanism a little bit more after we get this guy set up. His eyes are like shining in the light. I thought maybe they would light up, but they look like they're just painted like that. Look at how shiny they are. They just kind of light up on their own. I love that. I wonder what kind of paint that is. Very cool. I love this dude. I'm running out of space. I might have to just hold his head right here. What else do we got in here? This must be the power adapter. And then we have a couple of poles here. And of course, the base. That seems to be everything. I'm gonna get it all organized on the table here, and then we can set him up right next to the table where I got some room. Okay, we've got everything organized on the table here. I already have the base down on the floor because obviously that's the first step. So step number 2 is going to be attach leg poles part B to the base, ensure the spring pins snap and lock into place, and turn the wing nuts to tighten those into place. Step 3 is to put the shoes on. Step 4 is to place the pants onto the assembled frame. Here is the outfit. There's the pants. It doesn't say what the front or the back is, so I'm just gonna wing it. Step 5 is to put the foam things over the legs. And step 6 is the waist frame, and that also has wing nuts. Step 7 is to pull the pants over the legs, around the waist frame, and up into these little hoops. Step 8 is to put his shirt over the frame. Step 9 is the torso frame, and that also has a wing nut. Step 10 is to put his bulletproof vest on. And step 11 is to put his shirt over the vest. That part was a little tricky. I feel like we could have just put the shirt over top of this after putting on the shoulder frame and the vest. Step 12 and 13 are all about attaching the arms. Thread them through the sleeves and then attach the brackets right there to the shoulder frame. This dude is looking awesome so far. The next step is to attach the bowl, but first we have to put this little tiny pole through here. And then there's a hole in his shirt that you put the pole through, and there's a pole on the inside as well. And you can see it right there. Step 16 is just connecting his hands with the Velcro to the bowl. There's also a blue, yellow, and black cord that you have to connect. One wire comes from the bowl, the other one comes from inside his shirt. Step 18 is finally to attach his head, and the rest of the steps are just to connect the wires on the inside and adjust the volume. And there he is in all of his glory. Look at that. He is so cool. I love his outfit. Those colors are awesome. His eyes are super awesome because they almost light up with no power. Just because of the kind of paint or whatever they did with that. They did a great job. I love that. All we have to do now is put some candy in his bowl and in his hat, and I'll show you how to fill him. I've got some Halloween candies right here. Now, if we look at the directions, it says that his max fill weight is 5 pounds, and there is a fill line, but it seems pretty easy. It's telling us to use 1 inch by 1 inch candies, and that size of candy should reduce the chances of jamming. It does say that after 6 activations, you'll have to refill it, so we're going to test that out and see how it goes. I also wanted to test out and see if these pops could go in there. A lot of people like suckers, so I wanted to test it and see if these suckers will go through there without jamming him up. So we're going to test that out. Those are the Pops Minis. And then we've got some awesome Sour Patch Kids. I love Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish. And of course, you got to have the classics: Reese's, Reese's Pumpkins, Kit Kat's Witch's Brew, and Hershey's Cookies and Cream Fangs. I love Halloween candy. Let's get this guy loaded up. Okay, so obviously his hat opens up just like this, and on the inside you can see here he's got little compartments. The directions say to fill up 6 of them with a few candies at a time and leave the 7th one empty. And I think it wants us to leave that one empty, the one that's right above the dispenser. I want to be able to see what I'm doing, so I've got a little stool here to step on. We're going to start with the Reese's and Hershey's. It doesn't look like there's a ton of space in there, so I kind of wish we could put more candies in there, but we'll test it out and see how quickly they deplete. Oh man, I love the smell of Halloween candy. I just want to start eating these right now. Okay, it says to take a handful of like 3 or 4 and put them in there. Now these are a little bit bigger than the ones that tells us to use, but that's okay. We're gonna try it out. I'm also kind of putting some up on the edges to see if they will kind of refill whenever this thing is spinning around. There you go, you can see my little pile of candy there. Let's get some of the other candies in there. Okay. Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish. These ones are much bigger. That's like 2 or 3 inches. We'll see how it goes. I honestly think these are gonna get stuck in there. Yes, these are not gonna fit. I've just tried to put a little bag of Sour Patch Kids down there. That's the dispenser, so when this thing spins, it hovers over the dispenser, and it's supposed to drop the candy down there. As you can kind of see right there, there's a Sour Patch Kid pack stuck because the tube is too small, or the candy's too big. So I'm just going to try and pull that out. Uh-oh. Ha! We got it. Okay, and I can already see a flaw with this. Obviously, that part was my fault. The candy was too big. However, if you look in here, and hopefully you can see it, there is like a lip right there, a plastic lip to the tube that goes right down into his mouth, and it comes up way too far. So the candy will very easily collect right there instead of going down into the hole. Let's just test one. It got stuck right away, and I'll show you. It's the exact same spot that I said candies are going to get stuck in. You can see the sucker right there, just leaning up against that lip. Let's just throw a handful of candy in there and see what happens. Ready? Okay. That did not go well. Look at all the suckers stuck in there. That's definitely not going to work. Not a single sucker went down into the bowl. So definitely listen to the directions and use candies of the correct size, or you're gonna be unclogging this thing a lot. We are still going to try with these little Reese's and the Hershey's. There we go, I got the thing filled. There's like 3 or 4 in each little slot, and we left that one open. So hopefully as this thing spins, it will drop the candy into the bowl. Now the directions also say to put some candy into his bowl, and it says to do that to prevent candy from sliding out prior to the first activation. I don't really understand that, but we're gonna do it anyways. That is where these bigger candies will come in. So if you buy the bigger candies and they just happen to get clogged in there a bunch, just throw the bigger candies into the bowl, and then he can puke out the smaller stuff. There's the sensor, by the way. That's where it will activate when somebody reaches in for some candy. I love a big bowl of Halloween candy. This is just getting me so psyched for Halloween. Can't forget to close that up. And there's a little Velcro piece right there in the front. It's where you match it up. I've already got him plugged in. Back here, it's pretty easy to access his control panel. I'm gonna switch him on and we'll see if he works. I can hear him moving. Let's go check him out. Woo! Okay, he played his music. Now I think when we reach for the candy in the bowl, that's when he will start puking. So let's test it out. Okay, he didn't do anything. Now it could be one of my mistakes. Let's open up the hat and see what it looks like. Okay, yes, it got jammed up immediately. It honestly seems like they kind of made this thing only to hold Butterfingers. Which would be smart on their part because Butterfinger is Spirit Halloween's sponsor. I knew I should have bought the Butterfingers. Look at that, the candy is getting stuck right there again. I wonder if I could take his head off and fix that. Okay guys, I kind of figured it out. I took his head off and tried to fix him. Hold on, his hat's a little bit smashed there. There we go. I took his head off and tried to fix him by creating a ramp with paper and tape that would allow the candy to slide over that lip and down his mouth into the bowl. However, in the process of doing that, I actually found that you could move the piece of plastic that was in his head that was creating that lip. So I played around with it a little bit and I figured out that it's not really attached in there by any way. And I was actually able to remove that piece of plastic. So now there is no lip on the inside. This may solve all of our problems, except for the issue with the oversized candy. Obviously in the directions they tell you to use something smaller, so we can't really fix that. But I may have found a way to make these Hershey's go through and the suckers, and probably the Reese's as well. Okay, I filled them up again. I alternated between the suckers and the chocolates. I only put 2 of the chocolates in per little spot and 3 suckers facing upwards. We'll go ahead and close him up and we'll turn him on and see how he goes. All right, trick or treat. There we go. He is super awesome. I love him. Trick or treat. That's awesome. I do love this guy. I'm glad I got that plastic part out. Trick or treat. There we go. That is so awesome. That is too cool. Now there's still one more thing we can do with this. He is Bluetooth compatible and you can use your own sounds. I'm gonna mess with that a little bit and then we will set it up and try it. Okay, we've got him all hooked up with Bluetooth. It was super easy. The directions explain everything really simple. All you do is just turn on the Bluetooth switch and then go to your Bluetooth device like your phone and it pops up as BT230818. As soon as you connect it, then you can just play your own Bluetooth sounds and the sounds will just keep playing until you turn them off. So they will play the entire time and he will activate as people are taking candy. So I have some creepy clown laughing sounds here. We'll play it. And there we go. It's just gonna keep playing until I turn it off. Let's activate him, trick or treat. There we go. And he still pukes out the candy. And then you can just turn it off whenever you want. Well, there you guys have it. That's Trick or Treat Pete. He is super awesome, pukes out the candy. I think he's a great animatronic. I'm super happy that I bought him. I was thinking of the next lines and he just spit out a piece of candy. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.